everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's reading is going to be a mixture of a request from a watcher who asked for a comforting message to her soul, is what she said, because she's feeling rough. And it's a mixture of that and a comment from some very sweet gentleman who, I think it's a gentleman, the name was Adam, so I'm assuming it's a gentleman, who talked about whispering to souls. So this one is going to be called the Soul Whisperer, who listens to the French Whisper. Isn't he sexy? What a lovely voice to fall asleep to. Anyway, today's reading, Pantone 7726 is number 1, number 2 is Tangerine, and number 3 is Bright Violet. So if you want to take your choice, then we'll get started. Hi there, Power One. I'm going to run through this slowly because I'm not in my usual environment. I'm actually in an attic, and it is like a one-person show of the two men who are the Muppets in that little box. I'm rummaging around on a bed and trying to grab things, and yeah, it's just a bit all over the place. So let me go through this slowly. The first thing I can see from these cards is that something that you have possibly succeeded at or done extremely well in the past has got something to do with temptation, something to do where you could have taken the easy road, but you've almost recognised a story or recognised a person and the part that you play in it, probably with a huge amount of intuition, and chosen to take the high road. There's something you have done in your life that has repeated itself, possibly from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, and you had the choice to, the choice is the word here, to either take money or take something that possibly wasn't yours or that you didn't need, something that would have been deemed as greedy in your own eyes, and you chose the most light-hearted, easiest path. I don't quite know, obviously I don't quite know what this is, but there's definitely a feeling of being in a situation where it felt karmic. It felt like you knew who you were and where you were at that particular time, and you knew, as in like a flash moment, what you should or shouldn't be doing, and that choice was momentous in the way that the rest of your life unfolded. To me, it makes me think of money, it makes me think of sex, or it makes me think of a relationship that you have walked away from because it wasn't right. You just took the correct choice, I suppose, and as a result of that, your life would have been difficult at that time, but then almost had a feeling, I'm showing a slow peeling feeling of lifting upwards afterwards. And there's what's become of that is a huge feeling of self-respect, a feeling of triumph, I suppose, through taking the path that was difficult at the time. To me, it just feels like you've really pushed yourself down a track which was not easy, and ended up looking back and thinking, I'm so pleased I did it. I'm so pleased that I am here now, even though I could have had what I really wanted. It makes me think of that old film with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino in, I don't remember the name of it, something like The Devil's Advocate, I think, something like that, where you have choices and one is easy and it brings satisfaction, quick and easy satisfaction, and I don't know whether it's money or a person or a relationship. And if it is a relationship, it makes me think of one that you shouldn't really have been in, maybe because that person was married. Not that I think that, I have different thoughts on that, but I have no thoughts on that because it's your situation, so I don't know. But I can understand how it's difficult to be drawn to somebody. And as a result, you come out of this feeling as if you have made huge steps in where you're going and who you are. Okay, it's funny that you've got here, because this is more like the past to me, and you've got the sun, and then you've got the sun card here, which is telling me more or less about your personality and how you've improved. And this pile here is what you need to keep pushing on, and this is the choice that you've taken in the past. And the sun is a choice that you've taken with the King of Brushes. To me, makes me feel that you've chosen the path that was more active, more adventurous, that the more masculine path, rather than what I'm thinking here. And I'm thinking feminine in terms of, to be honest, what I'm really thinking is somebody who could slip into drink, because you've got the Devil card there, and it could be substances that are quite, what I would say, quite cloying. So this is another possibility. And then you've got the Sun card here, where you've actually taken what I would think a more active path, when you could have possibly turned to substances or turned into a mindset that was more internal, more receptive, but negative at that time in your life. I'm not saying that mind frame is normally negative. It's just a case, fantastic for meditation, fantastic for art, but sometimes you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And to me, this is a feeling of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to get something that you want. And then your Sun card here for your personality and what you need to keep pushing at. It's as if the situation has repeated itself again. A couple of times in your life. To me, this could even be addictions, because there's that feeling of taking the more out-pushing path. It's probably what I'm thinking. There's a repetition here, and there's a feeling of almost being stuck with sharks surrounding you. So this to me is either, there's lots of things it could be. It could be a career path where you keep repeating. It's definitely a situation where you keep repeating something, and you almost feel the tension of being there, and you've just, I wonder whether the way that you have dealt with situations in the past has helped you when this same or similar situation has reared its ugly head again. Because there's a feeling here of being at ease with yourself. There's a feeling here of being quite content, when in the past you may have struggled with this. And it could be anything, to be honest. It's just something where you've become attached to a mundane situation. And by mundane, I don't mean that it's boring. I mean that it's fact that it ties us here time after time after time. And it's like a pattern that you have had in your life, and you've taken the correct path out of it, but it still keeps testing you, still keeps turning up. And you've come here from the Papa of Brushes, which is the King of Wands, to the Mama of Brushes, Mama and Papa. So there's that feeling that each time this situation has come and tried to drag you down, you've actually chosen the correct path, and it's the more masculine path. And I mean that in the loosest sense. It's the harder path. It's the one where you have to actually get up and do something every day. And with this repetition here, it could be a work situation where you could actually have so many different scenarios, to be honest. With the Devil card here, you very easily could have been in a situation where you possibly could have been looked after by somebody and had an easy life, but you chose to push yourself out to work. You could have been in a situation where you could have taken somebody's girlfriend, somebody's boyfriend, and you chose the correct path, possibly what you felt was the correct path at that time, although the harder path. And that same scenario keeps cropping up again, and you almost, it's a case of being more aware, being in the situation, and things falling around you, and you're just like unmoved because of the confidence that you have brought out in yourself from past experiences. I don't know if I'm on the right path here. And your prize, this is your prize pile. Your prize is expansion. And this is your personality. So you've gone from the karmic soul, recognizing a situation where you're in the same group, doing the same thing. And then as you progress into the sun, which you picked up from your last lesson in the past, to your present lesson almost here, is an inner confidence. It's an ability to push outwards and not to pull anything that's not yours and not needed. It's just that warmth and that exuberance in life. And that, the confidence is the word here. It's that confidence to to be in life without reacting to it. And the Fool card here makes me think the Sun and the Fool here is to be in life, be centered, being yourself, being proud of yourself, and every situation, every scenario that you have taken up until this point, looking back and thinking, you can do it to me again, I don't care, because I've progressed inside myself. And then your end card here is expansion. Where you basically, oh my God, this is beautiful. You've basically here with the Princess of Pentacles and the World card here and ending in the Lovers. It's like, my God, I don't know what to say here. It's like a feeling of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Lessons, expansion, the Princess of Pentacles winning all the money, and you've got the Devil card here. So that's, that may be something that, I can't actually reach over these cards here. And then you've got the World, which is wrapping it all up. Can you see these? I don't even know what I'm doing in this room. It's only for 2 days. And then the expansion card here for you, where you've actually reached, to me, it feels like reached your goal. It's almost like one karmic lesson done and dusted in this lifetime. And you've got the Lovers card here, which is bringing, I'm thinking, 2 parts of yourself together. So whether it's your left brain, your right brain, whether it's, I don't know what part of you, but it's just 2 things within yourself that you may have struggled with, and you've had decisions and you've wrapped them together, done the best you can, and you've struck gold. Okay, right, now I've just fed my way through that. I'm just going to sum it up. This is a different reading because I can't actually get my hands there, so you're actually getting a more relaxed reading from me. Okay, this is what I'm picking up. This is what your soul would be saying to you if it could talk to you, which it does. It does, it really does. You have put yourself into many situations with a group of people you may have spent many lifetimes with. You have been bombarded with temptation, whether it's money, whether it's love, whether it's security, whether it's like a health situation. There's just something that you've been bombarded with, where you have always made the correct choice and the harder choice. With the Sun card there, you've made the choice that brings the best out of yourself and expands yourself. And that is, to be honest, the path that you have chosen that has led to who you are today. Each time you've been presented with this situation, which has been multiple times, I think. It's not just a one-off. The opportunity has been there to take the easy road. And as I said earlier, it could be to do with substance abuse. It could be to do with alcohol, the Devil card there. You've got the Sun for how you've actually dealt with this in the Fool. You've taken what I would say the tough pile. You've taken the cards that have made you cry for months, a year. I don't know. It's that feeling of somebody who has had to be tough on themselves, pick themselves up, get to work, pick themselves up even when they don't feel well, pick themselves up when their relationship has collapsed. Because you've got the 2 of Pentacles, and this is repeated, and you've got the Fool here, which is basically surrounded by sharks. You've progressed from this Devil card and the karmic soul. The Papa or Mama of Brushes here, with a real sense of fortitude, I suppose. And then you're coming out as a Sun here twice. So that is just, the Sun card is normally the card for initiation. The 19 is just 19 is, starting again, isn't it? And then you've got the expansion here at the end. So you have progressed. Many times you've been almost beaten down, but each time you have pushed yourself out. And I get a real masculine feel here. And I wonder whether this is coming from a feminine place. So this is like something that's maybe easier for you to choose the road which is more relaxing, more soothing, being looked after, being comforted, and each time you've chose either a King or Queen of Wands. And that has what's made you expand. And these 2 cards, the Princess of Pentacles, is like made me feel like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and the World card here with the expansion card and all these lessons is rounding it all up and bringing those parts of you together that were meant to be together, which, to be honest, with the cards we've just talked about, And what I could possibly pick up of having a very feminine nature and actually acting in a very masculine, with masculine intent in some way, to have the Lovers card at the end, of pulling those two things together is perfect. Absolutely perfect. So all those struggles that you've had, and I don't know how old you are, but we all struggle in different ways, don't we? And chosen the tougher direction, the tougher path, that, you know, you've gone probably the right-handed route on the crossroads. I know what I'm talking about there. But it's just that toughness inside you, which you have chosen the correct path each time, and it's been thrown at you repeated times. And this makes me feel like you've done it. This is like, to me, if this was a message from Spirit, it would be, well done, you finished. You don't have to do this again. Just the way that it accumulates. Right, pile number 1. If that felt like a weird reading from me, it's because I'm in a different place and I can't actually get to the cards. So I honestly feel like I'm just talking to a microphone, which I am, but most of the time I can interact a bit more, but sometimes I'm not always at home. Does that make sense? Okay, right, pile number 1. I hope that helps in some way. Thank you very much for stopping by, and I hope to see you again. Bye. Hi, pile number 2. Let's have a look. What is your soul whispering to you? You might be pleased to know that I can't actually get my hands on the cards because I'm away from home again. So it will be a more subdued reading, I think. Do you know what, pile 2? Might not be able to get my hands near the cards, but to me, this is really strong pile, because these are the words I'm thinking of. This to me is what you've succeeded at. This is what you've been, you're probably still pushing at, and this is your prize. So to me, it feels like somebody who is, or has in the past become aware of what's going on. It's like a spiritual feel of awareness, and then there's a strength of character, and then there's like freedom and release at the end, which to me sounds lovely. But let me just go through it bit by bit and see what we can pull out. Okay, you've got the Sacred Fire, the Strength, and the Queen of Cups. So that to me feels like a real sense of understanding of who you are on your place in this world. And it speaks to me as well of somebody who has the core inner strength to pull out the best themselves in any situation, but not in a way where there's, when people are sometimes just young, but sometimes they react from a violent view, or basically it's protecting their ego. There's something about you and an understanding of who you are that has proven to itself, I suppose the words are. It's like a feeling of respect that you have for yourself, which is a really strong word, to have respect for yourself, or a strong phrase, to have respect for yourself, based on your more feminine, nurturing qualities. And that's what I was sort of saying about being young, when you react, when you're quite defensive, when your ego's poked. There's something about the way that you have dealt with situations that has made you feel more grounded in yourself, more established in yourself, and a more understanding of why you're here. It feels like a soul that's been brought here with an understanding of, it's like a Chiron feel of how they can heal others, but through going through their own trials and their own tribulations, and slowly learning how to be more nurturing with themselves, and that self-love to be able to give to others. And through going through those situations, and through feeling each time that, no, you're not dead, then we get up and we do it again, that it's like the veil has lifted, which sounds ridiculously corny, but you've got the Moon card at the end with the Sacred Fire at the top. The Moon card is Cinderella, Can you see these? Cinderella falling out of her pumpkin, and you've got the Strength card and you've got a very feminine card next to it. So there's got to be something to do with self-awareness. There's got to be something to do with an inner core strength of how you deal with situations and not reacting with your ego. And there's got to be some sort of nurturing that that has led you to be who you are, and has almost, as I've just said, lifted a veil. An understanding of life, an understanding of how we interact with people, how we deal with situations that come towards us, and what a game it really is. But you've learned to play it really well, and that's what you've succeeded at. What I think you're actually working on at the moment is this could be a particular situation. This could be either wanting to be in a relationship or wanting to be connected to somebody. But your lesson here with I keep saying it's called Mama of Spray Cans. Basically, it's the Queen of Queen of Swords, and the Page of Wands here is to be self-reliant, and your lesson here is to be I'm going to say mentally astute. There's an independent air about you. There's an ability to do what you want when you want. And with the Page of Wands here, I wonder whether you're just learning this, because you have a softness about you here. And you definitely have an understanding. And this pile turns into self-reliance. And this is what you're learning to do and what you're doing a good job in. And I think it's got something to do with relationships. There's something to do with being self-reliant and learning to basically hold on to and respect your own independence. Your ability to do things on your own, your ability to stand on your own 2 feet, and your strength of character here. And this, to me, this pile here is what you need to keep pushing, because you're doing a good job in it. And it's being independent. It's, I would say, not yearning to always be part of somebody else's life. Not always wanting to have a partner. Not always wanting to, being able to spend time on your own. And be happy in your own self, and to be happy where you are actually standing and who you are at that particular moment. It's like having to spend a weekend on your own, and some people find that quite difficult. And I wonder whether you're learning to do that. And the Page of Wands is beginning things, and there's a sense of adventure there. So this could even be something that you've done recently, like taking a holiday on your own. Or with the Queen of Swords here, it could be doing a course on your own that you've always wanted to do. This is pushing yourself outside of your normal comfort zone with regards to self-confidence. This is what you are doing extremely well at the moment. This is the past. This is where you have, I would say, broken through illusions. And now you're actually almost establishing yourself in life through just pushing outwards. So this is like understanding your feminine parts. Don't mean that in that way, but this is more like establishing yourself in a more masculine way in the mundane world. Inner strength through femininity, and then outer strength through masculinity in this pile. So this to me speaks of adventure. It speaks of pushing yourselves onto courses. It speaks of getting or applying for that job you've always wanted. It speaks to me of being independent with regards to spending time on your own. It speaks to me of not relying on others for emotional nurturing, and it speaks to me of being able to clearly state who you are and what you want. This pile here, and what you're doing well, this is. But to me, as well, with a Page of Wands, it's like small steps. And this could even be an illusion that's fallen. This could be in the past a relationship that has fallen to pieces that you were relying on. It could even be like a long-term boyfriend that who's not there anymore. It could be a marriage that's gone on for quite a few years and is not there anymore. It could be somebody that you've had your eyes set on, and then you've almost like the illusion has, you become very self-aware, to be honest, with the moon at the end. And what you're actually doing, and doing a really good job, is basically getting your feet back on the ground and pushing out bit by bit by bit. I'm thinking of Audrey Hepburn when I'm saying this. It's like a feminine woman, but with an inner strength, who is bringing that outwards and in a masculine way. Somebody who could be in a relationship if they wanted to, but chooses which relationship they want to be in because it's not quite what they've expected, it's not quite what they wanted after they've put this work in on themselves and realise what's going on below the surface. And your prize is you've actually progressed from the Page of Wands to the Knight of Wands. So there's something you are doing in the outside world which is, I think, at this very moment taking effect. I mean, you've got the Fool down here at the bottom. So this to me speaks of somebody who's not scared of having an adventure. This is not somebody, you are not somebody who's afraid of... Do you know what I'm thinking of? There was an article in the I'm not going to say paper then, but it was on the internet about a bus journey from Delhi to London. And I was thinking, that looks like the most exciting. I know you've been on a bus journey for like 2.5 months, so it really is not exciting. But to me, that at that very moment was the most fantastic thing I possibly could have found that day. And I was shooting it off to friends saying, does anybody want to come? I hadn't actually converted the money from pounds, is it rupees to pounds? When I did, I had to stop. But to me, progressing from this to this, you're the type of person, if you sell your house, who could do that without thinking twice about it. But back in the past, you may have been more passive. Yeah, more passive. And then there's something about your personality that's more direct, and there's something about your personality that has that sense of adventure and that need to reach out, because life always seems as if it's running away, and at times we forget about that sense of grab it while you can. And I know in the 90s there was that very much seize the day type of thing. I don't know if it was the 90s, I obviously read that somewhere, but to me it feels like you have mastered that. From the Page of Wands to the Knight of Wands, with all this behind you, you've mastered that. And even if your relationship is not there, or you're not in a relationship, because you've got the Ten of Cups here for what you're working on, and the Two of Swords here is like a decision you possibly have made, or the relationship just isn't working, and you may have just focused on yourself, but you've done it with the Fool card here. I love the Fool card. Can you see that there is actually in your eyeballs? The Fool card here is Little Red Riding Hood. She's got mace in her bag. Little Red Riding... That's you. Little Red Riding Hood going to Grandma's house with what looks like mace cans in her basket. So it's starting an adventure, but having balls, I think. Having the balls to carry it through, and not... And it's almost like an inner strength from what you... Possibly from the self-work you have done in the past, and almost... I'm trying to say... without expectations that are unreal. This could be somebody who has a lot of Neptune in their chart, who's quite creative, somebody who likes to fantasize or daydream and has decided not to. Or you could be putting that into action rather than just doing all the daydreaming and being creative, outwardly creative. But what you've actually progressed to do here is pull the best out of yourself with regards to your more outgoing personality traits, I think. And no expectations with regards to relationships. So when you look at pick a card reads, you're very aware that it's your decision, your choice. You're listening to it, but you're knowing that it all falls on you at the end of the day. This is not the pile that texts and says, you told me I was going to meet Prince Charming. You take it, but you're taking it in and you're understanding that it's just nudges. Because the Fool card is very aware. I wonder whether you have... This could also speak of a situation where you may have been in a marriage or a relationship for a long time and maybe relied on somebody and it's fallen to pieces, and then you've learned your own independence, you've learned to be your own man or your own woman, and now you've actually got to the point where you're quite happy, maybe even financially secure, in being yourself and doing what you want when you want. And it's almost that growth that has given you that ability to be on your own and to be happy with it and to be content with it. I mean, the Fool card at the end, and Aquarius in its best form is, with the moon down here, is, I was going to say, there's no lying to yourself with Uranus, but they do love a good conspiracy theory. But that's in the search of truth. I'm sure it is, honestly. Okay. Right, pile number 2. I'm going to start summing you up. It's difficult, and you can probably tell by the way I actually sounded probably quite unusual because I can't get my hands on the cards. So I'm going to start summing you up from what you've succeeded at, what you are still pushing at the moment, and your prize, who you are now. So your sacred fire right at the very beginning and your strength and the Queen of Cups make me think that you have the knowledge and the understanding and probably the spiritual awareness when you came down to this earth. You had that feeling that you could understand what was going on below the surface and not react with your ego and come to life with a sense of self-nurturing and nurturing other people. And you may have had lessons on the way, but you've actually done a really good job at it. And what I would say, through working hard and through being aware, you've actually broken through the illusion, and you can stand there in a situation, understand what part everybody's playing and where they're coming from. To me, that speaks like a tolerance for an understanding of astrology, when you can actually you can smell people's personalities and you can see the best in them and why they're reacting coming from a certain standpoint. So that's something which to me speaks of, I'm almost saying, like a spiritual self-awareness and an understanding, and things falling away, and it's seeing through people's egos and your own ego. And what you're actually doing now, I think, could possibly be a sense of independence in who you are and where you want to be. You've now turned into somebody, and this could be to do with relationships as well, because this turns into something which is speaking of the ability to push yourself through life on your own. Not saying that's what you're doing, but there's something to do with independence and what I would say a cool demeanour and an attitude to, I will have somebody in my life if it suits me, but I don't need it, because I'm the Page of Wands and I now see life as an adventure. Before, you possibly could have been a bit more passive and more reliant on somebody else to bring that sense of excitement to you, but you may have turned into this person now who actually goes out and gives excitement to other people. You instigate things. It's more cardinal feel of instigating things and bringing life to life. And your final pile is the best pile, because this is your prize pile. So you've gone from the Page of Wands to the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands has that, it's almost like an amorous feel, because the excitement is there, the movement's there, and it's got something to do with the heart and love. And you've got the 2 little birds here. You bring people together. You're the type of person, you bring people together. I mean, these 2 birds here are separated, and these little 2 birds on your head, you kind-hearted moose, are sitting together. So that may be very much something that you do, and you may even get paid for it. This could be the progression in your life of, actually, if you don't already, you may actually be able to earn a living through bringing other souls together. And that could be part of your journey. With the Fool card at the end and the breaking through illusions here. So to me, I'm getting a feeling here of somebody that works in spirituality in some way. This is the feeling I'm getting. Somebody who understands people's inner workings, but has a sense of softness about you, which I think you were born with. And then through different circumstances in your life, you've brought out that sense of adventure and almost like a devil-may-care attitude. And then you perfected it with the Knight of Wands here and the Fool at the end. And that's got something to do with spending time on your own and being happy with it, possibly relationships that may have fallen fallen down in the past, and then understanding how to connect with people and bring people together now. And this is what your prize is. These are lessons you've learned. I've got something to do with spirituality and actually sharing those lessons with others, I think. And it's got something to do with the Fool card here and the Moon card here of a journey that you have experienced through up until now, to who you are now. And it's awareness. It's detached awareness, and it's taking... To me, you've got Uranus in your chart and you've got the Moon in the past. This has got to be something to do with understanding people and bringing yourself together here, and then being able to give more to others, and even getting paid for it in some way. It could be like career counselling, because the Knight of Wands and the Page of Wands almost slightly blow out this spiritual feeling that you were born with. So it could be something where you pull people forward, like counselling, or it could be anything. It could be a sports coach. But it's moving from a very sort of innate spiritual power, I suppose, into functioning in the outside world with a sense of verve and understanding your journey and who you are. Right, I'm going to stop there, pile number 2, because I feel like I'm beginning to repeat myself. This has a strong feeling of somebody who's born with gifts through hard work. Again, very similar to pile number 1, that you have learned independence and not to depend on other people for your happiness. And that's a strength, not something that leaves you feeling sad, although it may have done very early on in your life, I don't know. And then you've got these two wand cards. It's got something to do with enthusiasm. It's got something to do with giving out your inner fire, I suppose, and bringing together people. And that is the beginning of your journey. It's what you have progressed on and how you can actually use that with others, with your... It feels like an excitement for life with the 2 wands card there. There's an awareness here because you... Okay. Sorry, I was about to finish. I'm not. You've got the Moon card here. And this was your card for what you've succeeded at. And that is breaking through illusions. And then you have got here what you need to keep pushing on, and probably what you are still doing. You've got this Page of Wands with this messenger bird. It may even be a pigeon or something, flying through the darkness, but by the light of the moon. So you have learnt through your understanding of your own inner depths and everybody else's inner depths. A bit like the conversation, we were talking about astrology earlier, and understanding people, and almost like you have to wade through bad situations to gain that understanding. And now you're actually bringing it out in other people and yourself without looking back. The Knight of Wands is not looking back. The Page of Wands is still understanding, and understanding that life doesn't have to always be spent with somebody at your side. It doesn't mean you've failed, doesn't mean it's just, it's a choice that you probably would have made, and because you wouldn't be able to bring out this Wands character of somebody who sees life through, I'm going to say, exciting goggles. Which is, it's quite a joy to be able to do that, to be able to still have a childlike sense of excitement and spontaneity when you've been through illusions, I'm assuming. Which is this card all over. That is your Fool card. There's so many stories of... Hamlet's one I can think of, where you go through different situations in life and playing the fool. You know, you play the fool and people think you don't know anything, or they think that you don't fit in, or they think this or they think that. And to me, this part is the complete opposite. You probably play the fool because you can get through unnoticed, and it suits you, and it probably does suit you with these cards here. And that's where your awareness comes from, of a great understanding of the game that's going on. And you still come out on top at the end with the King of Wands, with the Knight of Wands. Still come out on top, still that joy for life, even though you've been through these trials. Okay, right, pile number 2. I'm going to finish there. I hope that helps you in some way. So sorry I can't get to the cards, and it makes me sound like I'm sad. I'm only sad because I can't get to them. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Bye. Pile number 3. I'm in a different room today, so I can't actually reach the cards, and so I'm just sat at the end of the table talking, and it makes me sound really sad because I can't grab the cards. I'm not sad, I'm just explaining myself. So you've got Bright Violet. Let's have a look. Okay, pile number 3. This pile here is for what you've succeeded at. So that's what you're bringing to the table, really. What you've already... You've got tick for that one. This one here is what you're probably still pushing on at the moment. And this one here is the prize. So this is basically all the work you've done and what you're doing really well. Which is all of it, really. But it's just to separate it for me. What you've succeeded at... It's very similar to pile number 2, but this has got a more drastic feel. It makes me feel that in the past you have gone through situations which have imploded on you. It could be relationships. It could even be like losing a house. It could be just something that you've set your mind on, and deep down inside yourself, you've attached yourself to it, thinking this is me, this is part of me, this is my... I'm thinking I say degree. This is my degree. This is my relationship. This is where I live. This is who I am. And it's totally fallen to pieces. And you've asked almost for a hard lesson there of the Tower. You've not asked for things to be chipped away from you. You've just asked for them to basically, as I said earlier, implode. This card always reminds me of Sean Penn when he was... I kept thinking Sean Penn sounds interesting guy, because he was said in an interview that he lost his house, burnt down and everything inside it. And he said it was one of the best days of his life, because it was like everything he'd attached to, and you have the devil at the end here, everything that he'd attached himself to became irrelevant in probably an hour or 2. And that's something I think that situation you have been through, and you have come out with what I would guess a sense of clarity. You have got here underneath it the Ace of Spray Cans, which is the Ace of Swords, and the Sun. So there's something in that situation that's happened to you that has brought to you almost immediate clarity, I think. It's like you're going around with your hat over your eyes for years within a situation, and then there's like a wow moment, and there's awareness, and then what follows that is a Temperance card, is an understanding and a balance in your life. And that's quite a strong pile for me. And that's something you've succeeded at. So that's something that you have done, got under your belt, and it's as if it's there forever. So when you start feeling that awareness of being attached to somebody, attached to something, attached to a car, even attached to a house, attached to a country where you... I don't know. You recognise it. Because these 2 cards here are very strong. This awareness feeling with the Sun and the Ace of Swords. It's an understanding, it's an awareness. And it's almost like... You can test me if you want, because I've got the Temperance here next to these cards, and I know what it feels like, and I know that I can still get through it. So there's a solid feeling of being able to almost put yourself in any situation and know that you're going to bounce back up like a rubber ball pushed into the water. Okay, what I would guess that you are working on now is... You've got this strength here. So you've got this from past experiences, and then the Six of Cups here is like looking back at the past. This is actually, I put this down as a keep pushing pile, but to me it feels like it's time to take a break. You've got the Justice card here, which is peace, the doves all flying as part of a group, and it has that feeling of a new day. Is it Noah that sent, yeah, Noah sent the dove out, I'm making this up here, the dove out and brought back the olive branch. So there's like a peace offering to people because you feel like you don't need to keep fighting. It's the Temperance card here and the Justice card here, the little doves with a little olive branch, and then the Six of Cups, which is two kids lying in what looks like warm shallow water, playing and just being at ease themselves. The Strength card here is at ease with yourself because you've batted down your inner demons. You've been faced with your inner demons in the past, and you don't care if they come up again. It's just a strength of character that you've got. This to me is not a struggling pile. This is I've achieved and I know who I am, so hit me with whatever you want, I don't care. A real sort of inner strength here. And there's still with the Sister of Buckets, which is the Page of Cups, there's still that softness about you, there's still that innocence about you. And the Six of Cups there's a sense of innocence. So a bit like pile number 2, that still had what I would say a sense of enthusiasm and exuberance with life. You've got what I would say a soft love of life. And that comes from a place of knowing you're more than anything that you can hold on to. And your prize in this is your ability to walk away from situations that don't feed you then. And it probably is exactly that. I don't know why I was going to say that. Situations that don't feed you, that don't make you feel good, that don't make you feel like you belong, that make you feel less than. If you feel the Six of Pentacles here, I'll hold these up. It's really difficult for me because I've got my microphone stuffed in my snout. And then I've got the Three of Pentacles here. God, that makes sense, that sentence. The Six of Pentacles is if you're put in a situation now where you are made to kneel down to anybody, where you're made to think that you're inferior to anybody and you're not part of a group. Do you know, it's really funny. You've got the birds over here from your past being burnt and falling from a tree. This could have anything, any connotation here. It could be, my first thought that came to mind is being bullied in school. And then if you're not part of that group, it doesn't have to be school, it could be work. It's basically, it could be not feeling as if you belong in a situation. Somebody may have made you feel like that, and it could be just a one-to-one relationship. And you don't take any, to me this is a turning into your prizes. I don't take crap from anybody. I can walk away from this situation. Oh, this is getting exciting. Yes, and your Devil, when I got this card out at the beginning, I thought, what on earth is that? Why would you have that on your prize, being holding on to material things? And the way that your spread has gone, and this pile here, you don't need to hold on to anything. With the Tower here, letting things go even when they meant a lot to you, and then having clarity and a sense of awareness and a sense of ease. This is what you run with at the moment. You run with that sense of soft inner knowing and fairness, and now you can walk away from any situation that doesn't suit you, that doesn't feed you. If you have to kneel down to anybody, you're off. If you have to be part of a group and it doesn't suit you and you don't feel like you belong, you can withdraw with dignity and silently get out of that situation because you don't feel that you need to be in it. And excuse me, I'm getting excited. These birds here and these birds here and this Devil card here make me think that sometime in your life you felt like you needed to belong to something and it hasn't happened. And you've come to a point where you're at ease with yourself. Because these cards here are beautiful. There's still that inner softness that you've been able to maintain even though the situation's fallen to pieces. You've got clarity. You've got the Temperance. These three cards together are beautiful. It's just balance with still the ability to love yourself and love others. I mean, sometimes you get people that will fight through life and then, I'm going to say, lose all their yin. And I'm thinking, especially as women get older, if there's too much fighting, there's too much pushing, they can be really gnarly when they get old. And there's still that softness, which to me is beautiful. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, it's that softness and that inner confidence of being able to give and receive to others and to yourself with boundaries here. Nobody's going to put baby in a corner. It really is. Is it baby? I can't remember. Do you know, I don't think I can add more to that without repeating myself. The only thing I could possibly do is add different scenarios here. But to me, you're going to have to do that yourselves. I'm just looking at this, at the birds in here, and I'm just going to give you a bird interpretation. The Tower card there is possibly being part of a group or a situation where you felt you belonged and it's gone. And then you've got an inner peace within yourself and the ability still to keep your softness of being able to offer an olive branch to people in an argument, but still maintain your dignity and make you think you're not giving too much away of yourself. You're not losing anything. And this is where you've come to here of the ability to work in groups if it's working for you, or to remove yourself if it's not. There's no need to attach here anymore. But to me, the most admirable thing is your awareness and your softness. It's easy to fight, especially when you get tower moments in your life. It's easy to fight, it's easy to be bitter, and it's easy to maintain that bitterness for huge amounts of time, and you haven't done that. Because you know at the end of the day, it's you that pays for it. It's you that ends up gnarly old man, gnarly old woman, and you've actually moved away from that and maintained an equilibrium and a softness and an ability to connect with people and to work, but not with really, really strong boundaries. I mean, work with others. Right, pile number 3. I'm going to finish there. I know that feels like a different read because I can't get to the cards, and it's probably makes me feel like I'm doing some sort of strange podcast rather than just reading cards. Anyway, okay, well, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Bye.